Hello, this is John with Brainstorm Comics and Gaming. I'm here with Tim this week again. We are doing the comic portfolio for those of you who haven't watched the first one. We started off with $500. We invested those into what we think are books undervalued that we think we can turn into other books that we're more looking forward to. A lot of people use the hobby to fund their hobby. They buy books that they think are on the cheap side, and they hopefully grade them, turn them into like more money to pay for that next book that they want or what have you. Tim has been doing this as a side thing for quite some time, right?
Yeah, actually not as long as you would think. Maybe 2014 or so.
Okay, so about 7 years.
About 7 years I got back into.
I know you comb not just eBay but also Facebook groups and
Craigslist and where else?
Wherever you can find them.
Google.
Antique stores.
And you just got to hunt around enough, and sometimes things will pop up.
And of course, your local comic book shop.
And of course.
So we're gonna get started this week. So every other week we will have $200. If it takes us 3 weeks to do a filming, we'll do $300. We probably will be at 3 weeks next time, I think. Yeah. So I think we're at 3 weeks for the next one, so we'll have $300 in our pool to spend. Not me, and you'll find out why here in a moment. So let's get started. So with my $200, I talked to you about this the last time we filmed. I was in a Facebook group, and they were talking about a book that I did not know was out there, and that is New Age Comics #1. It is the first in color TMNT. It's an ad on the back cover. As we have seen, there is an increased interest in things like that. Those kind of like off-center kind of books. So I actually bought 3 of those. So we started off with one at $42. The cool thing about that one is it also came with a book I was not aware of, which is Doomsday Squad #3, which is the first in-color Usagi Yojimbo story.
Oh, interesting.
So that was thrown in extra with that one. So
interesting. That's quite a bonus they threw in
for $42, both of those books. I think if I remember correctly, I think that New Age Comics I would probably grade out at like an 8.0. But when it comes in, because I actually bought these as opposed to the last time when I was simply using fictional money. And I'll get to the Doomsday Squad here in a second again. So I also bought another copy for $48. That one looked in higher grade. Now, this also will give you an opportunity to think about things that you can do on eBay. So this guy had it at $75 or best offer, and I offered him $40, I think, and with shipping and everything, it came out to $48. So if people have a best offer on there, don't be shy to go ahead and make an offer that you think is fair. Especially, don't lowball them. I mean, I looked at other sold auctions, and I thought it was a pretty fair offer at the $40. I thought the $75 was kind of high, and he accepted it. So, like I said, just because somebody has a price tag doesn't mean you can't bring them down on their price.
Right. I think usually fair is maybe at the very minimum, or most I should say 80%. If you want to try, and usually what they'll do is they'll set, like when I post stuff, I'll set a minimum that I will even allow a bid to be received or an offer to be received. And
I do as well. Well, you said like 80%, but like I said, I would also look at the sold listings and see if it's even less than that. I would go even less than that. Yep. If they turn you down, I mean they turn you down.
Hunt around, because there are always other ones popping up, and that's critical when you're hunting for a book. Don't just jump on one. Is save it and check them. Yeah,
and also see how long they've been listed. Like keep track of it. Has it been listed for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
The other thing I would advise, real quick, not to segue too much, is look at the seller. Actually go and look at the seller, and if it's a shop, go off eBay and touch base with them. Yes. I've done that many a times, because then oftentimes they are more willing to negotiate because they're not paying that percentage to eBay.
And I will also say right now, this time of year, people are probably more willing to accept offers because of the Christmas season. And also everybody keeps talking about the new tax laws coming up here in 2022. So you can probably get some very good bargains right now. And then the third one I bought, the guy had it listed for $50 plus shipping, and I bought it for $35. Well, I offered him $30. He accepted it, and then with shipping and handling, it was $35. I'm going to tell you, I'm not like most people. I don't shy away from people who ship media mail as long as they have like positive feedback and such on that. So I told you that the one had the bonus book And once I looked into it, I went ahead and bought 4 more copies of it. And let me tell you why, though. The guy had it as a bundle. It was all 4 books for $24. So it broke down to $6 a book. And then even with shipping and handling, it was $34. So you're talking about $8.50 a book.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, for the at least one of the books looks really, really good. He showed the interior pages of one of them, and it looked very sharp. So even if I make money off that one, like that $34 is I think a fair price. And I have 3 other copies I can sell raw if I don't feel they're gradable or.
Yeah, I was gonna say that it could be one of those things where just a turnaround on raw may already net you some profit without having to deal with the timing for.
Yeah, I was shocked he was selling all 4 copies as a lot. I was like, you could have broken these up and done better with this, but.
Yeah, but it's kind of the same way when I'm looking now at trying to sell off some raw books. I don't have a ton of time, and so individually shipping out a bunch of raw
Your
books for me is
more
just
valuable to you.
I'm just going to try and sell stuff as bundles.
So the reason I bought these 2, TMNT and color, obviously is a pretty important thing in the comic industry, and Usagi Yojimbo is going to be a Netflix show. So. Oh, you didn't know about that one?
I didn't know about that one. No, that's pretty neat.
Yeah, so that's why I put money into that one. I figured that has a lot of room to grow because of that. And apparently it's going to be different, though. It's going to be set in outer space as opposed to like the feudal Japan kind of thing. So
that'll be interesting to see. I have not read any of it. I know it's very popular. That and like Grendel and some of these independents are really starting to pick up.
Yes.
And I think Invincible has kind of shown where price wise it can kind of launch them.
That's why for $6 a book I was like, well, yes I will take that.
Yeah. No.
And I will tell you, there's still other ones out there on eBay that I saw for like $12, but the one for $6 a pop, and you get 4 lottery tickets as opposed to one.
Can't lose, really.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. So before I move to my bigger one, I'll do the more recent release that came out, and that is Robin's #1, which introduced the first Robin retroactively.
Oh, I saw that was
So I bought 4 copies of that 3 copies of that at the $4 cover price. Again, almost anything Batman is pretty safe in terms of long term. Now, obviously, this is not going to be a quick flip. It seems like there's not that much interest in it right now, but I feel like the character has the potential to be used later on in ways that can grow the interest in it.
Yeah.
And then the last one. So I debated back and forth between how to which book to buy on this one. It was the same book but different versions of it. And that is Doctor Strange #1, the 2015 version by Jason Aaron. So I ended up buying the 1 in 50 variant for $50. There are not very many of them out there on eBay right now. And the reason I put money in this one is Zelma Stanton, one of the people from Strange Academy. This is her first appearance. And I honestly feel like if they do a Strange Academy show, she will probably be the breakout character. She's like the nerdy character who's really into everything.
Okay.
I feel like those characters tend to be like the ones that people gravitate towards on shows like that.
Yeah.
I was hoping to find one a little bit cheaper than that. The last one I think sold for $25, but it did look like it had some damage and stuff to it. This one looked like it was a pretty copy. And like I said, on this one, I actually spent the real money on it, so we'll get these copies within the next week or so. So hopefully on the next show, you and I can go over them and do some loose grading on it, what we think can be pressed out, and what grades we think they will come in at once they are pressed and clean. And we will hand these over to the pressing and cleaning. We'll probably turn this into a video for the pressing matters also, to show like the improvement that we see on those. So
perfect.
So those are my purchases. I did go. The reason I said I was not going to have the $300 next time is I did go over my budget by $31. So next time we will deduct that from my $300. We'll say I ate ramen noodles this week instead of.
Don't eat too much of that. Turn your skin yellow and hair will start falling out from the sodium.
Oh well.
True story. I had a buddy who was a RA in college, and one of his kids only ate that for 3 months, ramen, and his hair started falling out.
Beer's expensive.
That's right. That's right. You got to prioritize your budget.
All right. I'm going to let you get up here, Tim, so you go over your picks.
All right. So Really, I think I only have 2 I'm going to add this week. And actually,
You're a saver, Tim. This makes me sad.
I know. Well, 'cause I'm really contemplating what to add, but it came in, so I'll kind of show my quick recap. My Green Lantern Corps number 201, which is first Kilowog.
How did it look?
Looks great, I think. I'll get your opinion afterwards. I would say this is maybe with a press, hopefully maybe a 9.6 candidate, but it is the newsstand variant.
We talked about that last time.
Same price, and it's a nice copy, so I went ahead for it because some people will pay a premium for that.
We'll go over it again. High-grade newsstands are difficult to find because a lot of them were pawed over on newsstands by people who may or may not be comic fans. They may just saw it on the...
just free handling everything. And I will point out, and at some point maybe we'll get into this, there is another variant for this. So you've got your standard, your newsstand. Sometimes we talked about you'll get your Mark Jewelers inserts, and then you'll get something called the Canadian price variant. This is not a Canadian price variant, but what it'll be is the only difference will be the price on it. So this is 75 cents for this issue. The Canadian price variant would be 95 cents, and they're a little bit scarcer. But at least on the forums, people will be like, "Oh, I got a Canadian price variant," and somebody from Canada will be like, "Oh, we just call those comics." So
it doesn't seem like the Canadian price variants have as much cachet yet. It seems like it may be growing a little bit, but for the most part, it seems like in-country price variants are the ones that people are more gravitating towards.
Yeah, like when you get to those Star Wars, was it like the 35 cent variants and things like that?
Well, you have to be careful with those because the reprints were also 35 cents. So
that's right. That's true.
I've seen some retailers price it as if it were the price variants.
So it's just little things to keep out. I don't personally really care. But I could see somebody who is looking for additional rarity on some of these 80s, 90s books and wants to further extend their collection, they'll target those. So all things being equal, if you can get one at the same price, might as well.
Well, I think I mentioned it in the last one. Like, I'm not a big fan of the newsstand variants. I put a lot of money into the newsstand variants in my last 2 weeks ago investment thing, but I don't know. For me, it's the same book, and you're buying a barcode. Yeah. Again, that's where the market is. And sometimes you have to put aside what you feel about things in order to buy books that will go up in price. And
I agree. So that was kind of a recap of that one since I didn't have it last week, but also kind of continuing on from last week. I had the first cover appearance of Bumblebee, but this week I'm going to actually have the first appearance. This is not the first appearance of Karen Beecher, who is Bumblebee. That is Teen Titans number 45, I believe.
Okay.
Release date on this book is 1977. Becomes Bumblebee. Cover's okay. It's Harlequin. Joker's daughter is Harlequin, and she joins the Teen Titans. But again, it's a very popular character, especially for the young kids growing up right now with the DC superhero girls and all. It can be had really cheap, 9.4 CGC for $94.
Is this one of your purchases, or was this from the last one?
No, this was one of my purchases for this week. Okay. Yep.
So this one was 94?
This one was 94.
Very nice.
And they're pretty readily available. Nobody really goes after them. So
I know you're very big on all the Teen Titans characters, and especially these like Bumblebee and.
I am, and I like Donna Troy and Beast Boy, and some of these ones as well are great characters. And the books are still pretty affordable, but they still have some value to them. Donna Troy being Brave and the Bold 60, which is a little bit of a difficult book because of the black cover. And then Beast Boy being, I believe it's Doom Patrol 98 or 99, I can't recall.
Gotcha.
And it has a kind of a bluish purple cover that's also a little tricky, but
I don't remember off the top of my head. I'm not gonna lie. Once we get into the 60s and earlier, unless it's a big key, that's
yeah, it's I can't recall, but those are
there's too much to remember in all of the.
They're great characters, and they're characters that I think particularly like the young generation is growing up with, especially Beast Boy, who I think is a bit of a cult. Will have a cult following growing up with Teen Titans Go, and
yeah, he's been pretty popular for like the last 20 years at this point with those shows.
Yeah,
would it come out like 2003, 2004, somewhere around there? Was it earlier than that? It might have been earlier than that.
Teen Titans, and then you have Teen Titans Go, and he's a big character. So, and still pretty undervalued, I think, considering his cultural impact. And that's a lot of times what I look for is what do I enjoy, or what if it's something I'm looking to flip, does it or will it potentially have a cultural impact? Because those are the books that are going to have longevity in terms of value, at least maintaining. They're not going to all jump up as ridiculous as some of the prices are right now, but they will maintain at least a following. The other one that I will throw in, I forgot to bring it today, but collectively as a series, Adventure Comics, say in the 267 plus range to about 400, which is a lot of Legion of Superheroes books, can still be had in pretty good grade at a pretty reasonable price. And so I'm going to add in this week, which is a copy of number 352, which is the first appearance of the Fatal Five, which is the primary, one of the primary villain groups against Legion of Superheroes. There is some speculation that with the casting of the new Supergirl, to be part of the upcoming Flash movie, it may then segue into her leading a Legion of Superheroes movie, or at least live action feature, be it an HBO Max or
they're going to do the Super Pets thing. So
and then they have
I think they're very
Pets.
wide open to a lot of different concepts at DC. It seems like they're definitely trying to expand it even further than what the Marvel universe is in terms of what they're doing. So
yep, and in Legion of Superheroes, I think it's probably doesn't have as much cachet as some of the other characters, because there's a lot of characters. It's not like you have a focal point. In this case, maybe it would be Supergirl or Superboy, who are Dream Girl. I'm trying to think of some of the others.
Yeah, they have a core of 4 or 5 people, but then there's a large rotating cast.
It's a huge, Lightning Lad.
Saturn Girl,
who I think would be popular, and then they have their version. Basically, I think he was the Timberwolf, who was kind of almost like a Wolverine type gruff prototype. So there's a lot of interesting characters. There's a lot of interesting storylines with that, especially Great Darkness Saga. So that's another way that DC could pivot back to Darkseid without having to pick back up from the Snyder.
I would love for them to do Legion of the Damned. Abnett Landing's run on.
I haven't read that one. I'll have to add that to my list. So it's kind of an underappreciated series, or just group in general, and so
young characters, very big right now. So
they could do a lot with it because of the variety of characters in it. So again, pretty inexpensive books at this stage, and they're from the 60s and earlier. So you're starting to get into some Silver Age stuff that at an affordable price. I think I paid $50 for my copy. We'll do a grading. I think it's probably around an 8, give or take, which is not bad for a Silver Age book that could become a key and then becomes more difficult to find immediately. It's already kind of difficult to find it in higher grade.
Yeah, even an 8.0 from the 60s is a pretty good grade. So
yes, so I think that's part of also what people should realize is that you're not always going to be able to get, if you collect modern books and as you start moving further and further back, it's okay to kind of lower your standards because the supply is just getting harder and harder. And so these books that are kind of affordable in 8.0s or 8.5s, as soon as you get up into the 9.4s, 9.6s, the prices jump astronomically.
I was talking to somebody the other day. They were there talking about the print runs from the 80s and 90s, and I was like, well, how many have been stored in warehouses and are not in the best of shape because either mice got to them or the humidity up and down or what have you. So even the 80s and 90s one, what percentage of those are still high grade?
Yeah. People bought them in bulk, and then they just languished in boxes and crappy boards and bags that are now stuck to them.
Yep.
And so I agree. So those are my 2 additions this week. So about 140. We'll just round $150 total with shipping. So
you're just adding more money to your pot.
Save some for next.
How much did you have left over last time? Wasn't it 50 also, or?
I think I had about 100. I have to do a full tally, but it was like $1.25 or so.
I have to take a loan from him for some of my books.
Or you can just give me some of the books, and we'll trade value. Hey, we could include that as a thing that we can intertrade, swap books.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah. I can double your money on one of your books already. So I'll give you $12 for one of your lottery tickets.
So what do you think of the what we're doing so far, Tim? You enjoying it?
Oh yeah, this is fun. It's making me really kind of
Do more research and
do a little more research. Like I said, I've already always kind of had the mindset where I like to target characters that I enjoy. I collect what I enjoy, and I go after characters I enjoy. That I think a lot of people that haven't really quite hit mainstream and all, because that's where you can find not only value, but also it's nice sometimes to step away from the mainstream characters into something very different. Mm-hmm. It's a nice way to mix things up when I'm reading as well.
There's a lot of great characters out there that are still undervalued and underrated, and I think almost Batman, Spider-Man, all those characters grab so much of the headlines that's what really grabs most people's attentions, and I don't know. There's so much more out there.
Yeah, actually, one I just finished, a series I just finished reading, and then I'll kind of wrap up, that I may add next week, is a really cool character, and I guess the creators had really, I think it was Jeff Johns and all, had really high hopes, which is Pandora. Mm-hmm. And so her first appearance was Flashpoint number 5, and then they had the series, which is the Trinity of Sin series with her, and she being one of the 3, the other being The Question, and Phantom Stranger. And it turns out she's the one that released the 7 deadly sins that we see in with Shazam and all, and so she's trying to kind of put them all back in order. And she's an interesting character, and I do like the more kind of mystical, magical side and Justice League Dark side of the DC universe, and so it's fun.
There's a lot like that. Aztec from the '90s. I don't know if you remember him.
Yep, I picked up.
Everybody thought that was going to be like a huge thing, and the traction wasn't there, unfortunately. It was a very interesting character and well done, but
yeah,
it just didn't have the traction.
And it's characters like that I think. There's going to be this group that kind of read it, who grew up and now are going to want to try to reinvigorate it at some point. It probably won't
get to be as popular as they thought it should have been.
Yeah, it could be. It just needs a different creative team to bring it in a fresh set of eyes on it.
Grant Morrison can be a little weird.
It's true.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us again this week, Tim. Hopefully, like I said, 3 weeks from now, we'll do another one. I know the holidays are coming up. I know and our cameraman is on a couple projects that he's doing. So I guess I'll see you in 3 weeks, and we'll do our next $200, $300. All right.
Not you though.
Not me. I'm Poe now.
What's that important? Happy holidays to all.
That's true. We are in the holiday season. I just bought it on credit, like everybody does. Speaking of which, thank you guys for watching. Have a happy holidays, and hopefully you enjoyed it. Let us know what you would purchase with your $200 in the comment section below. Don't forget to LCS, like, comment, and subscribe. Your local comic book shop, Brainstorm Comics and Gaming.